All right, welcome back into the Fox Local Live Desk. Joining you here inside the Fox 13 Seattle newsroom, as always, I'm Matthew Smith. Now, we are going to be checking back in with meteorologist Alona McCauley, who's going to give us a rundown of everything that we're currently dealing with right now. And boy, river levels is really going to be the story of the day. We told you this earlier, but we're looking at the potential of 10 local rivers hitting the major flood stage at some point this week. We've already seen that in some areas, but even some of the spots where we've seen the levels coming back down, they're going to ramp back up later in the week. She'll break that all down for you. In the meantime, folks are dealing with this in real time. I mentioned earlier one of the places that is going to be handling some of this is going to be the folks over at Evergreen State Fairgrounds. Now, if you don't know, whenever we see these flooding concerns, one of the spots that we really start worrying about ends up being all these farms, these farmlands right along all these flood-prone areas, and that is, again, a concern. I'm already hearing that there are 40 plus horses, cattle, chickens, goats, all sorts of things that have been showing up at Evergreen State Fair, because at the end of the day, there's only so many places that these folks can turn to, and there's only so many places that are really set up to handle all this. So the fairgrounds tend to be one of those areas that ends up opening their doors and making sure they can take care of some of these animals. So you see that Facebook post online right now. They note that you do need a signed waiver. There's guidelines for stabling, and they don't allow dogs in there, but a lot of farm animals are showing up there as we speak. So Fox 13's Shira Matsuzawa is going to have more on this a little bit later in the day, but let's jump right in now. This is going to be Amy Creighton from Evergreen State Fair, kind of explaining what they're doing at this stage in the day.
Stabling of large animals here at the fair park due to the flooding that is happening. So we're prepping all of our barns and stalls to get ready to accept animals that may need to be emergency stabled.
How many animals do you have so far?
Currently we have about 40 horses, and we have about 40 cattle that are coming in. We are expecting some chickens and also some possible goats that may be coming in too.
How many animals can this place hold?
That is a great question. So we have about 430 stalls here in the equestrian side of the fair park, but we also have other animal barns on the other side that can house like cattle, goats, sheep. We can also set up emergency, like temporary penning, so that's where some of the cattle are now.
What have things been like for you today?
They've been a little, hit the ground running. We just finished up an event this last weekend here at the fair park, so came in today, and it's been kind of all hands on deck. We work really hard to put these procedures in place, though, so that when time comes, we can get it going really, really fast, so everyone kind of knows their job. And we partner with Department of Emergency Management as well, just to make sure everything is smooth and can get the animals settled as fast as we can.
And Amy, you were saying some people actually live out here, right? So or live here on site. It's been very stressful. Maybe talk about that.
Yeah, so most of our staff lives in the Monroe or the Sky Valley here. A lot of us are impacted also by the rivers. So some of our workmates could not get into work today. So that does impact our staffing. And so it really is kind of everybody jumps in and helps where they can. We do have an on-site caretaker, which is great. He is here, and he's the one that people reach out to let them know that they're coming with their animals.
Walk us through the process. So if somebody has animals they need to evacuate, what do they need to do? And then when they get here, what happens? What does this all look like?
Yeah. So if you have the opportunity to give either our caretaker or our office a call prior to coming and let us know you're coming and what type of animals, that's great. But if you don't, you can come here with your animals. You leave them on the trailer. You notify our caretaker that is here, and the phone numbers are listed before you get into the building. He has you sign a waiver, and then he'll go ahead and get you the animal stalled. We provide shadings for the stalls, but we don't provide any care, feed, equipment, things like that. That is all on the owner. We do, however, have community partners that work with us that if you had to leave and couldn't bring that stuff, we can put you in contact with someone that gets that equipment and stuff here. We also do not provide veterinary services.
I imagine you've talked with a lot of owners of these animals today.
They're doing okay. You know, we're glad that we're here as a service, but at the same time, we know this is a very stressful time for them. We're glad that we can offer it, but we want to just make sure that we take care of the animals and give them a place that they know their animals are safe. The community is amazing about reaching out and asking if they can help and support the Fair Park in doing this, and we're really glad that it's a resource here. We do want to just make sure that, you know, the animals are safe, that people are safe, and they can get them all back home once the floodwaters recede.
How long do you expect that they'll be here, given like the forecast and what things look like?
That I don't know. We always, but when we do emergency stabling, we always do it 5 to 7 days, and then we reassess. So we're always in contact with our partners and saying, okay, what's the forecast look like? How long do they need to stay? So we really rely on that. So right now we're kind of just the next couple days looking and seeing what's going to happen. And then we'll reassess and go from there.
But it sounds like it's minimum 5 to 7 usually, typically.
Depending, but if they're able to go home sooner, obviously, you know, they can go ahead and do that. Also, we look at, you know, what is the cleanup and things like that. So we want to make sure it's safe for the animals to return back home.
And where are people typically coming from?
Right now, I know we have a lot of people kind of along the river, the Skykomish River, also in the Gold Bar area. It just really depends. And I, again, coming in quickly this morning, am not exactly sure where they're all coming from, just because it's kind of been fast that they're coming in, but mainly along the rivers. And I know that Gold Bar and kind of the Sky Valley has kind of been one that's been hit. So.
And you said that some of your colleagues couldn't make it in today. It was like the road, there's water on the road and stuff like that?
Yeah, so there is a lot of water on the roads, and some of them live and also farm in the area, and so it was a little hard getting in today and, you know, working from home. So, yeah.
And then what was the event you had last weekend?
So last weekend we did our annual holiday event. It was Holiday Spark at the Evergreen Fair Park, just a real local kind of holiday event. So we just finished up with that on Sunday, and we're coming in to clean up today, and we're always on our toes. You know, we could switch modes and pitch in and do what we need to for the community.
And can you repeat what animals are here now?
Yeah, we have, right now we have 40 horses and 40 cattle are on their way, and that could increase. We have heard that there is some chickens on the way, and then also one of the farms also has goats that are part of their farm with their horses. Yeah.
Anything else we're missing that maybe we didn't ask you?
I don't think so. We are here as a resource. If you have any questions, you know, you can call our main office during business hours, and you can also check DEM's website. They also update the information there too.
And this is like a 24-hour operation?
Right, so obviously when you think about weather, it may not be the first thing that crosses your mind, but for those who live in these flood-prone areas, it's already bad for some of them, and it may still get worse. So you really feel for these people, but good to know that there is a place that these animals can go, an opportunity for these folks to safely get their animals to a location where they're not at risk at this time. That again is the Evergreen State Fairground. We did put some information out there earlier today, but there are guidelines and waiver you have to sign, different things like that. They don't have veterinarian care, but a number of people are already taking them up on their offer to put animals there. She mentioned the Sultan and Gold Bar area. We had Fox 13's Lauren Donovan out that way earlier today, and we'll have a crew back out there a little bit later this afternoon for more coverage on Seattle News Tonight. But that is an area that is troublesome, and we are focused on as well. Do want to remind you that if you are in an area where you are safely able to do so, and it's a able that is being hit by flooding, we have that QR code on your screen right now, upper right hand corner. I took you full screen so you'd have a chance to be able to pull out your cell phone and hold it up. You don't even need a special app or anything. If you got an iPhone, if you got any type of smartphone, really just pull up your native camera, scan that QR code, and it'll take you right to our page with Megaphone for Fox 13, specifically the live desk even, and it'll allow you to send in your pictures or videos, and you can even give us some details about what you are seeing. So anybody that does that today, we do appreciate that. It is your way to be able to help us get eyes on areas we may not otherwise see, and obviously this is a day when you're talking about throughout the entire week, all the rivers that could hit major flood stage. Our crews will be busy. They will do their best to hit each and every portion of our viewing area, but they can't be everywhere. So please be our eyes and our ears out there, and also take the advice to do so only when it is safe to do so. All right. That's going to be it with the QR code. Again, we'll leave that up there just for one more second so you can get a look at that, and I'll share that again a little bit later in our day, and as we start to see pictures come in, we'll push them out to you here at the Fox Local Live Desk. In the meantime, going to give you another look at one of these areas that we're concerned about. Just going to be a long day, a long week for many people, including all those folks that we just heard from out at Evergreen State Fair that are already bringing in horses, cattle, chickens, goats, and the list could go on. I'll start sounding like old MacDonald here, but point being, we have plenty to keep an eye out for, and we'll continue to do so throughout the day. Next up, meteorologist Alona McCauley is going to stop on by looking forward, giving us an idea of what's still in store.
Well, hi there, everyone, from the Fox Local Live Desk. I'm meteorologist Ilona McCauley. Hope you're having a great day so far. Of course, a lot going on in our weather here around much of the western Washington region, and we're about to see some heavier downpours of rain as well in the central and eastern part of the state, with the arrival of the second wave of that atmospheric river. So want to touch right now on some of the area passes, because we did see some snow earlier this morning around parts of Stevens Pass. And of course, the biggest highlight that we're going to be spending some more time on are our area rivers, because we are seeing major flood stage on several of those locations right now. So let's take a look up at the passes. This is what it looks like right now. The camera up at Snoqualmie Pass is currently down. However, I can tell you that earlier this morning we did see some snow flurries around Stevens Pass. The snow level was briefly lowered to about 4,000 feet. Traction tires for a point in time earlier this morning were advised, and now that has been allowed to be lifted. So temperatures are currently hovering in those low to mid 30s. We've got cloudy skies and some wet roadways in those spots. As far as what we're expecting to see moving forward now with the areas for those snow levels, it is going to shoot way high. So we're expecting to see another surge of some of that very warm, mild, very moist air, if you will, coming in with that atmospheric river tapping into the subtropical jet there. So the snow levels are going to shoot way on up there. We're talking 6,000 to 7,000 feet. So a lot of the snow that we're seeing up at some of those area passes right now quickly going to be washing away, because we're watching for some rain to fall on top of it. Here's a look right now at the Queen Anne Cam. So we've been dealing with a drier start to the day. So this is giving us a chance to catch our breath a little bit this morning into the early afternoon hours. Please do not let the dry conditions outside, though, lead to any type of false sense of security with driving in and around certain locations around town. We have numerous road closures. Matthew Smith has been checking in on those on social media, talking to a lot of the government agencies about the roads that are closed. Please heed the warnings. Do not drive around barricades. Do not attempt to drive anywhere that it is flooded. It is just not safe and not advised, of course. We will see a few breaks in the clouds here for about another hour or so, but they are already starting to thicken right back up again. That atmospheric river is currently in Portland. So this is a live look a little farther south in the Rose City there. You can see we've got gray skies. The rainfall has been coming down pretty steadily there and consistently for the better part of the day. Let's get currently to those flood warnings. There are a lot of them, and they are all along the areas where our major rivers are. So we are forecasting 13 of our area rivers to hit major flood stage. A lot of those are already at major flood stage. A couple of them will be approaching historic record heights. So we will continue to be watching them right on through the day. We expect to see these as an issue right now, and then going to likely be adding to the issues as we get that another round of wet weather to head through here by tonight and through much of the day Wednesday. Here's a look at the forecasted river levels. So you can see where the current levels are. This was taken earlier this morning. And you can see where the flood levels are, and then in the purple you can see where it is expected to crest and when it is expected to hit that point. So you can see the Skagit River at Mount Vernon, the Skykomish at Gold Bar, the Snohomish River at Snohomish, and the Snoqualmie River at Carnation, all expected to be at major flood stage as early as Thursday, and then possibly again peaking into early Friday. So you can see, take a look at the Snoqualmie River at Carnation, almost 60 feet there by the time we get into Thursday. The Doppler radar right now showing mainly dry skies, a lot of cloud cover outside, but you can see some of that light rainfall beginning to ramp up now across the coastal regions and the peninsula, as we're watching for that atmospheric river that was off to the south for the better part of the morning, slowly beginning to work its way and shift a little bit more up to the north. So here's a look at what we're expecting to see. We will watch for that to begin, some of that bulk of the moisture to hit parts of the Seattle metro, the lower Puget Sound region by the time we get into about 5, 6 o'clock this evening. And of course, that is the worst possible time, especially with the commuting hours home from work. So please drive for the conditions. We had so many issues on the roads earlier this morning, and they're going to remain wet with some standing water into the evening. We finally start to see that atmospheric river pull away from us, if you will, by the time we get into Thursday, but it is going to take a while for some of these area rivers to finally release and let that volume of water flow downstream and then get them back within to their normal banks. How much more rainfall are we talking about? Quite a lot. This is on top of everything we've already seen, so we could be easily talking an additional 2 inches in Seattle, an additional almost 4 inches up at Snoqualmie Pass. We're actually going to start to see some heavier downpours of rain. We could be looking at over just under 2 inches there, another 2 to 2.5 inches possible around the coastline, and easily closing in on 2+ inches by the time you get up into some of our island communities, Port Angeles, as well as into Bellingham. Now, in addition to the rain expecting to ramp up tonight, we'll see another round of some winds. They will not be as gusty as they were on Monday, but still nonetheless, we will see some gusts up around close to about 30 to 40 miles an hour. These locations would include parts of the I-5 corridor down into Olympia, close to Chehalis there, out toward areas of the coastline from Westport, stretching all the way northward into Forks. So the wind advisory you can see is trimmed back a little bit from where it was on Monday, so not quite as widespread of an issue for overnight and early Wednesday. Here's a look at that 7-day forecast. We're going to continue with the Fox 13 weather alert days for Wednesday and Thursday. Now, mind you, as we mentioned, that atmospheric river will start to wrap up on Thursday, but it is just not going to be a time that we can pull down that weather alert. I think it's still going to be very impactful for people trying to get in and around town. The waterway is still very swollen. And then we'll see the unsettled weather really continue into the upcoming weekend and early next week. The rain will be far lighter than what we've been dealing with, though, here for the last couple of days with that potent atmospheric river. All right, we are going to continue to monitor the radar, rainfall totals, and of course, our area rivers that are going to be the highlight of what we're covering for today. We have crews spread out in some different locations, letting us know what is happening with some of those areas that are going to be hardest hit. We'll have more from them coming up in just a little bit. For now, we're going to take a short break, and Matthew Smith will be back with more of the day's headlines and some more of the weather coverage with some of our local officials, so stay tuned.
All right, welcome back in the Fox Local Live Desk. Matthew Smith joining you once again. We've been walking you through a number of stories throughout the day. We checked in with the OL Reign as they wrapped up their season. A lot of weather coverage, obviously, but we also had a crew at an event with Mayor-elect Katie Wilson for the city of Seattle. She continues to announce more and more plans with her transition team and the folks that are going to be coming into office along with her. So want to jump in with Mayor-elect Katie Wilson, talk with Fox 13's Alejandra Guzman, kind of breaking down some of the changes that we see on the horizon.
Or that we're aware of. What is the overall feeling? I'm feeling great. I'm really excited about the team that we're putting together, both our team in the mayor's office and then also our larger transition team, which is going to be basically working over the coming weeks to translate the vision that I put forward during the campaign into implementable policies and priorities for my first year in office.
Affordability, childcare, and housing.
Public safety, homelessness, all of it, yes.
Big agenda there.
Yeah.
When we talk about making Seattle more affordable,
yeah,
we got 4 years to do this. You won't have a step-by-step plan today.
No.
But what is the overall hope there? I mean, what is the reality that not just you, but a mayor of any city can actually achieve making a city more affordable?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the housing crisis is really at the core of the affordability crisis, right? And there are a lot of levers that the city can pull to try to address housing costs, and we're going to be looking at all of them, right? Everything from our land use and zoning laws to how we're investing in our new social housing developer and making sure that that gets off to a great start, to our existing affordable housing sector, to how we're protecting renters, how we're investing in affordable homeownership programs. So all of these things, we're going to be looking at how the city can do more, how we can be putting more wealth in the hands of communities. And childcare is obviously another big issue for me personally, and I know so many families around the city are struggling with the high cost and often low availability of high quality childcare. And so we're, in addition to our transition process, we've started convening a table of people in the childcare industry to really talk through what are the solutions there. So I think there's a lot that the city can do. Obviously, we're not going to just snap our fingers and Seattle's going to become affordable like it was 30 years ago, but I think that we can make a lot of progress in 4 years.
Have you looked at the 2026 budget, and how do you feel about it? There was a couple million specifically for affordable housing. Park safety, overall safety has been a top priority for Mayor Harrell's administration, or so it seems, for the 2026 budget. So just kind of round out there.
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of great things, great programs that are funded within the budget. The thing that is really concerning is that we still have this very large structural budget deficit moving into next year, and there's a lot of spending that is one time. So these are programs where we probably want them to continue, but the money in the budget is just for 1 year. And so that's really setting us up for a very difficult budget process next year, unfortunately. So that's something that my team is going to be really looking at. We're going to have to review all the ways that the city's spending money, make sure that we're prioritizing correctly. And also at some point, we're going to have to start talking about new progressive revenue to make sure that we can continue to fund all these vital services.
For those who are afraid whenever they hear those keywords, progressive revenue, how do you ease them? You've spoken about the fear, the anxiety of maybe perhaps the other 49% of the city who did not elect or vote for you as a mayor. How do you respond?
Well, I mean, I will say that I don't think that the people who didn't vote for me were primarily worried about new progressive revenue, right? I think, I really think that, I think you'll notice that in the attacks that were made on me in the election, they were really focused on kind of me personally as opposed to on my vision and values. And I really think that a large majority of Seattle residents are on board with the vision that we put forward. And that, frankly, is also similar to the vision that the other winning candidates in our Seattle elections put forward, right? Which is one centered around affordability, on community safety, on meaningfully addressing the homelessness crisis. And so I really think that I and those other elected officials are stepping into office with a really strong mandate to push forward this vision and to get results for people. Because ultimately people want their government to work. And that I think building that trust and deserving that trust is really what I'm here to do.
When you looked at the SPD budget, or just essentially more 911 call takers and the overall allotment for safety there, are you happy with it? And this isn't something you have a say in it. So this budget's already standing. It was done way before you even had anything to do with it. But overall, have you had those conversations with Chief Sean Barnes? Do you anticipate him continuing being the chief of Seattle Police, or do you have other plans in mind?
So we're going to be making some personnel announcements pretty soon, so I don't want to preempt that. But yeah, I mean, as you said, the budget is already baked, but we're going to be working within the kind of parameters of that budget to make sure that we are getting the best results we can for public safety in Seattle, right? And our public safety budget is a very large part of the city budget, right? And I think that there's a lot of room there to be creative about how we're using those resources to get better results for neighborhoods across the city. And that was just a theme that I heard really strongly during the campaign from people in so many neighborhoods, that they really need to see better results on the ground, and we're going to be working to get there.
Does that mean we're pausing the hiring, or are we still going on track with what was already there?
We're continuing the hiring, absolutely, yeah.
Your partnership between Evans and the new city attorney, have you guys started that conversation there? And lastly, I ask you this all the time, goals for the first 100 days.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited to be working with City Attorney-elect Erica Evans coming into office. So, obviously with the continuing threats from the federal government, we have a lot to work on together. And so I think that's going to be a really good working partnership. First 100 days, the transition process that we just kicked off today is part of what is going to inform our 100-day agenda. So I don't want to get ahead of all the wonderful people we have working on that process. But we're going to hit the ground running. Obviously, on homelessness and public safety are going to be really high priorities right out of the gates. Our whole affordability agenda is something that we're also going to be, kicking off.
I do have one very last one, important one. Talking about immigration, I'm not sure if you've seen on social media, it happened in Vancouver. ICE agents apparently using a dog to detain a man. Yeah. Obviously that's not happening here, but with the FIFA World Cup, all of these situations kind of stemming out of the Trump administration, how do you ease the Hispanic migrant refugee community, and is there something you're kind of working on already to ensure that the situation doesn't escalate? We're hearing of other Filipino green card holders who are being detained. I don't know if you know about Kuya G.
Yes, so we were engaged, and I'm so glad that he was pulled off that flight and is hopefully getting the medical care that he needs. And yes, this is such. There's a really high level of anxiety right now in our immigrant communities for real reasons, right? And we have in our transition process, we have a team focused on standing up for our values, and we have representatives of some of our immigrant communities that are going to be working with us to develop some of the priorities for us out of the gate. So that's something that I take very, very seriously. And we have so many great advocates, organizations that are rooted in immigrant communities that are doing the hard work every day of protecting people. And I'm going to make sure that the city is the strongest possible partner in the work.
All right, so that is Mayor-elect Katie Wilson chatting with Fox 13's Alejandro Guzman. We will have more coverage on this coming up on Seattle News tonight, kind of breaking down what all of today's event was. A lot of media coming out, a lot of members from her transition team speaking. Katie Wilson wasn't the only one we had a chance to talk with as a newsroom. So again, look forward to more coverage on this coming up at 4 o'clock, but that is the raw interview, everything Katie Wilson had to say to Fox 13's Alejandro Guzman earlier today. In the meantime, do want to let you know we are seeing more video come into our newsroom. Remember, this is what we're here for. We kind of develop the stories throughout the day, but as we get stuff in, we're not holding it back from you. We're pushing it out to you in its raw form. So somebody from AK Equestrian Barn just had a chance to talk with Fox 13's Shira Matsuzawa a short time ago. We just got that video in the newsroom. Coming up after the break, we will jump in and get you a little taste of that, as well as new video coming in of what it looks like out on the Snohomish River. So we will get that out to you as well. But before we head to a short commercial break here, we'll take this full and give you a reminder. We are looking for your pictures, only if you're in a safe place to do so, if you're in a flood-prone area. We do want to get a better idea of what things look like for you. That QR code on the upper right hand side of your screen, scan that with your camera, pull it up, send us your video or pictures, and give us some details. We have our crew fanned out all around Puget Sound where we're seeing flooding, and we'll have a variety of reports for you up on Seattle News tonight. But we are asking for you to help us out. Be our eyes and ears and let us know what you're seeing in your backyard. If you have questions about what you're seeing, flag it for us, and we'll search for answers for you as well. More news still to come here on the Fox Local Live Desk after a short commercial break. All right, welcome back into the Fox Local Live Desk. Crazy to think that we're in a weather alert day as you get that live look outside, because out of South Lake Union, you'd think all things are wonderful right now. Things do look nice for the time being, but we are going to be seeing changes starting to develop as we get further into the week. What we've seen as far as rain so far is just the beginning. More still to come on the back end. Now, do want to continue to get you guys caught up on our weather picture. We just got some new video in. This is going to be Kasia Lee with AK Equestrian Barn, one of the people that actually packed up livestock and shipped them off over to Evergreen State Fair. That's out in Monroe, where they've opened their doors to people with horses, cattle, I think farm animals, because some of these areas that are flooding are going to be impacted with livestock. So they do this in some of the high-risk points of the year where we start worrying about these rivers cresting and hitting some of these areas. So we heard earlier from the folks at the fairgrounds. Now we get a chance to hear from somebody who just showed up with a horse not a long time ago. So let's jump into that conversation right now.
They've been like last night.
Just a lot of like scrambling, trying to figure out the plans, what's up, who's doing what. The whole barn, what do we want to do? Are we doing things as a barn? Who's got plans for their horses? All that kind of fun stuff, trying to figure out where everybody's going. Are we going as one barn? Where does every individual horse want to go? We chose to go as a barn, so makes it easier for our horses, because as you can see, one of them doesn't really like to be separated from her herd. So yeah, so it's just been a lot of like trying to figure out logistics and worry and what needs to be picked up and what can we get out of the way and how do we move everything, and yeah.
When did you make the call that you needed to get the horses out?
That was this morning. Yeah, and I think the conversations with the whole barn were happening this morning. Some of the logistical stuff, like the deciding factors, were happening last night before we all went to bed, and then this morning we're like, okay, we're moving. Let's see if we can get our spaces. Let's see if we can get all this organized and all hands on deck and everybody move.
Is it flooded then where you guys are?
No, not yet. No, but we're at about 31 feet, our barn is. So if the river crests, then yeah, we will be underwater.
So just safer to get them out of there.
Yeah, we're
safe than sorry.
Yeah. Right now, because we're in the lovely rain shadow, it doesn't seem all that alarming right here until you look at one of the rivers and you realize how quickly that's rising. Because it's not raining here right now in the Snohomish-Monroe area doesn't mean that all of the rivers aren't rising because of all the rain everywhere else. So better safe than sorry, and we just decided better to be fools and do all the work and not have needed it than to be the fools who thought we didn't need it and really were in a lot of trouble.
How are you feeling right now? I mean, that's a lot to deal with.
Well, I'm pretty optimistic and happy and all that kind of stuff. So to me, it's an adventure, and I trust the people that I am with. I trust my barn. I trust the fairgrounds. So I just feel like I kind of am being led along, and it's an adventure. I'm not worried overly, but right now it's calm. So I might change. So yeah. Grace is saying she's not calm. This is Grace, yes.
And Grace is having some anxiety.
Yes, Grace is having a lot of anxiety right now.
And then she's very calm.
Yes, this is Vega, and she's very calm.
And it's stressful for the animals, right?
Yes.
Tell us about that, the people who don't really know.
Yeah. So you're moving them away from their surroundings. They're flight animals. They're new situations. Some of them are very used to arenas and shows, and they're show horses and stuff like that. A lot of them are out in the pasture all the time, and they don't get moved and hauled around. And so this idea of like all these horses, these new surroundings, all the different noises and smells, and their whole herd isn't with them, it's anxiety causing. It's not safe. They don't feel safe. Even though we as humans know they're safe, they don't feel safe. So yeah, it's more traumatic for them in some instances than it is for us humans, because we get to know what's happening. They just get hauled around.
They get pushed and they're like, go ahead.
Yeah, go here, go here, go here, and none of your new surroundings, like none of your surroundings are familiar. So she happens to be the lead mare in our herd, and she sits right next to them. They are stall mates next door to each other in our barn, so we brought them together on purpose. So we're trying to bring them in pairs so that they get their buddies as quickly as possible.
There's some familiarity there.
Yeah. So it's not working for Grace right now, but
How many more horses do you have? Or how many
we have
horses?
6 more that are coming.
6 more.
Yeah.
Have you been through this experience?
Nope. I bought her a year ago, a little over a year ago. So I am fairly new to the horse world as an adult. So yeah, this will be my first emergency experience. So, and I'm really impressed with how well this community works. The horse community, the livestock community, the fairgrounds, the co-op, all the people. It's really amazing what happens in an emergency, because I live in Shoreline. That's not, I mean, we barely lose power in my neighborhood. So yeah, it's a really lovely thing to see the community work so nicely together.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add or that we should have asked you that we didn't about everything going on?
No, other than just do whatever we can to support our smaller communities, our local communities, because we don't, us city folk don't really realize how much effort and resources and care and dedication the people in our rural communities have in emergencies, because they're not taking care of just themselves and their humans. They're taking care of all of the livestock in the area, which is a really big deal. So just give some shout out to love there.
How long do you anticipate they'll be here?
Not a clue. It all depends on the weather. It all depends on whether that river crests, if we flood, because some of the reports seem like the crest, the height looks like it's going to be coming down a little bit. But it all depends on how high the water gets, how flooded the highways and the roads get, and the barns and all the homes, and how quickly it recedes, how much water we continue to get.
Are you guys by the Skycomish or Snohomish?
We are, city folk. We're right next to Pilchuck Veterinary in Snohomish. So I think it's the Skycomish. I think we're the Snohomish.
Okay.
Yeah, because we're in Snohomish. So I'm hoping. I don't really know.
How do I spell your first name?
Kecia. Yeah, no problem. Thanks, you guys.
All right, so that was Kesha Lee from the AK Equestrian Barn, and they are dealing with plenty of concerns out there. So if you're tuning in and you're like, wait, why are we looking at the Snohomish River while hearing horses neighing in the background? They, like many others over at the Evergreen State Fairs, have been bringing in animals. She said that they've got 6 more horses from their barn that are going to be showing up there. You got the Skycomish and the Snohomish that are causing lots of flooding concerns out there. Now, I also mentioned we got this new drone video in from our chief photographer. Just flew this up near the Snohomish River. You're looking right now at an area near near Fall City, one of the many areas that is really concerning in terms of what we're dealing with out there. And things aren't going to be getting better either. We are going to be seeing more concerning flood spots as we move forward, because part of the concern here, while some of these rivers are already crested, the water is going to keep piling up and coming down from higher elevations. So we're going to be seeing basically a second surge of moisture coming Tuesday night, that's tonight, into Wednesday, and that's going to mean more flooding, more clogged storm drains, potential for landslides, and a flood watch will remain in effect for much of our area. That's why we do have that weather alert day that you're talking about right now. And we're seeing a number of road closures as well up in places like Snohomish County. So continue to pay attention to fox13seattle.com. We do have live updates on all the things happening with weather. 10 rivers in our area have now reached major flood stage at one point or another, and we're going to see more rivers crest later on into the week. We will be checking back in with meteorologist Ilona McCauley a little bit later in our show, but major flooding forecast for Washington rivers late Tuesday into Wednesday morning. Why is this all happening? That atmospheric river sending rounds of heavy rain earlier this week, and we're going to see more still to come. We've already seen those emergency declarations in places like King and Skagit counties due to the flooding, and yet to be seen if we'll see more concerns. But as you look at the Snohomish River, Chief Meteorologist Brian McMillan told us earlier today this could be a record-setting crest for Snohomish River at Snohomish. The record was actually set back in 1990, so you're looking at Falls City here right now, but let me skip ahead because I know our photographer also went into Snohomish. I actually know this area. This is where I put my kayak in when I used to go kayaking, right by the Mexican restaurant there in downtown. And this right here would be typically a walkway. If you look there off just underneath of where it says Toto, Mexico, that is the past flood lines right there on the wall where he's kind of floating over towards. But where you're actually looking down right underneath of where this drone will be flying is traditionally a sidewalk, so people can actually walk this river walk. That's how high the Snohomish River has already gotten, and yes, it can get higher, as you can see there on the wall. And again, Chief Meteorologist said earlier today, we could see record-setting flood levels. Just something to keep an eye on. A couple other things of note, just reading through some of the updates our Fox13Seattle.com team have put out there online. Isaac Evans Park closed in Auburn until further notice. That's due to flooding along the Green River. They posted, they being the city of Auburn, online saying for public safety, the entrance gate has been secured. We ask that folks refrain from entering the area at this time. We know Snohomish County Volunteer Search and Rescue have also warned that we're seeing flooding up in Gold Bar due to issues out there. And police out in Puyallup have updated road closures in the past couple of hours here. We see 4th Street Northeast at North Meridian, North Levee Road at North Meridian, and 11th Street Northwest. That's north of River Road. And again, one last one here for Snohomish River as we look at the Snohomish River in the Snohomish area. Early this morning, around 9:30, we heard about Three Rivers Mobile Home Park had to be shut down due to issues with the river there. That's over near 522, the bridge, if you're familiar with that area. But look at that on your screen. Look how close that river is to the bridge. Folks trying to work their way into Snohomish, and we're going to see this climb as we move ahead in time. So we, of course, will continue to track all things flooding related as it comes into our newsroom. In the meantime, I want to remind you we do have other news that we are continuing to track for you here at the Fox local live desk. It's not going to be just weather today. Also want to kind of get you guys caught up on what we're seeing with UDub. Remember, later this week the team is going to be traveling out to the LA Bowl. So before we let you go today and hand you off to Seattle News Tonight, where we will continue to work our way over towards more weather news with our reporters kind of spanned out around Puget Sound. I do want to get you guys caught up on a press conference earlier today that involved both coordinators and players. More on that coming up after a short commercial break. All right, welcome back into the Fox Local Live Desk. As always, Matthew Smith here, working on a number of stories that we're tracking for you here today. Want to jump into a UDub press conference. Didn't get a chance to bring this to you guys live because we are so focused right now on what's going on with this weather alert day. So we will continue to talk weather. We'll be checking back in with meteorologist Ilona McCauley in just a little bit. But Ryan Walters, one of the coordinators, a defensive coordinator for UDub, strong showing this year by UDub, and they are going to be getting ready for bowl season. And with the LA Bowl coming up in just a few days here, Walters is jumping up on the mic earlier today to field questions. One of the very first things he's asked about is some rumors that he's a name to watch for a couple of jobs in the NCAA, including one at Tennessee. So let's jump in right at the top of this press conference, his reaction to those rumors.
I mean, that's a pretty easy, connect the dots deal. Obviously, I've coached with a lot of those guys in the past. Know and respect them, fully. But rumors are just rumors. I've had zero communication with anybody over there regarding any kind of job. I know there's an opening there. So like I said, if I was a media member, I'd connect the same dots as well. That makes sense. But right now, those are just rumors.
Is it your expectation you'll be here in 2026?
I hope so. I really enjoy this place. Right now, I am the defense coordinator at University of Washington. We're playing against Boise State on Saturday. I enjoy Seattle. My family lives here. Love it here. So that's where we're at right now.
What do you see as kind of the future of this defense? Where do you feel like this group is at, especially entering 2026?
Yeah, I'm really excited about who we have coming back. Really fired up about the class that we signed and their ability to make an immediate impact. You look at the schedule next year. I like the matchups. Like the home and away schedule as well. It'll be year 2 in the system. I really like the way we finished the year and sort of the direction we're heading. And like I said, with the guys coming back and being another year in the system, you're only going to get better. If you look at sort of my resume as a coordinator, there's always been a big jump from year 1 to year 2. So I was a history major, and usually history repeats itself. So looking forward to that next step, especially dealing with situational ball, and fine tuning the expectations and the intensity level and the focus that's required in those make or break moments in games. I think that's an area where we'll grow next year. So the future is bright. I think Coach Fish has done a great job here. Just building culture and teaching football and pouring into the players. I think Washington is a place that's poised for continued success.
You mentioned some of those recruits coming in. Are there any guys in particular who stand out to you in your recruiting class this year?
Oh man, there's really a bunch of guys. I'd have to name all of them. There wasn't one guy that we took that we're not expecting to make an impact in some shape or form. Obviously guys like Derek Coleman-Brusa stick out. You look at the DBs that we signed, they all have good ball skills and play tough and physical and can run. You look at the linebacker class, they got length, from top to bottom at every position. And the guys that we signed, they look like Big Ten players, and they're also really good at football. So I'm excited about the future.
Do you expect anybody to not play Saturday? Any guys with eligibility?
No, yeah, everybody that is healthy is going to go. Again, that just speaks to the culture and the type of guys that Coach Fish has brought in. These guys like to play football. So anytime you get a chance to go play, they jump at it. And we had a great practice yesterday. Another good one just got off the practice field today. Energy was good. Guys are locked in. Excited for a chance to go compete in a NFL stadium.
How much do you combine trying to get some young guys some experience, kind of get a little bit of a jump on next year versus just simply winning Saturday?
I mean, we play young guys all year, so they've already got that jump. You know, that's just kind of the nature of our roster right now. And so, you know, the focus will be on winning the game, and, you know, the young guys that have played will continue to play.
The 5 DBs you guys signed in this class, where do you kind of see those guys falling positionally, or do you have to sort of wait and see when they get here?
Yeah, you know, it's always tricky, you know, because you look at tape and you go watch them practice, but you never really know what they can do till you get them in the building and you get to work them out, you know, yourself, and you get to see them compete with other Big Ten players. So, you know, we don't really want to pigeonhole. So, we talk to the guys all the time, whether they're playing safety or corner. You guys are DBs. And when you get in the building, we'll figure out, you know, the best combination. Usually we play with 5. So the best combination of 5 to give us a chance to compete at a high level and win in this conference. Those will be the positions that they play. You know, with the structure of our defense, there's a lot of carryover and guys playing different spots. You know, sometimes a corner will play the role as a safety. Sometimes a safety will play a role as a corner. So you got to know all 5 anyway. And that's also why I like this class, because they got a lot of versatility.
As it relates to J.D. Hill, who looks like he could play either inside or outside, do you view him in either particular role coming in, or is it just kind of that same plan?
Yeah, I mean, you know, you look at his tape, what jumps out is the amount of sacks that he had in high school and his ability to get to the quarterback. You know, so I would anticipate us starting him outside. Just that's kind of in his natural wheelhouse. But you never know, like with defensive linemen, you know, you get them in the building and now they have they're on a strength and conditioning program, they're on a nutrition program, and usually the pounds sort of start packing on. So you don't know how they grow until you get them in here. But, you know, I would anticipate him starting on the outside.
What have you seen from this Boise State offense? What are you kind of expecting from them going into this week?
Yeah, I mean, very, very efficient. You know, I've always had a lot of respect for Boise. You know, when I was a player at Colorado, Dan Hawkins came from Boise. And then we got to see them play in the Fiesta Bowl against Oklahoma when we were also in the Big 12 at the time. And so, you know, I've always kind of followed their program. You know, you look at Chris Peterson, and I'm friends with Andy Avalos. You know, it's been a long line of coaches that have done really well there. And as a result, like, they've won a lot of games. And in order to do that, you got to play sound, you got to be efficient, you got to take care of the football, you got to be creative, and they are all of those things. Quarterback is a really good player. You know, he's won a lot of games. He's thrown for a bunch of yards, both in college and in high school. So he does a good job of getting the ball out on time. He's accurate, reads coverage as well. You know, like I said, they're just efficient all over the place. And so, you know, we're going to have to really be dialed in, locked in. They do a lot of shifts, a lot of motions, a lot of pre-snap presentation. So that if your eyes are in the wrong spot, you can get out leveraged and get out of gap. Because every shift, every motion they do, it's not just to do it, you know, for window dressing. It's with a purpose. So definitely got to be dialed in on all those plays.
How different does their offense look when Madsen is in versus, you know, those games that he missed?
Yeah, I mean, you know, operationally, it's the same schemes. Just the quarterback is a little more efficient, you know, when he's in there. And as you guys know, like that position is so important to driving an offense and operating at a high level. But as far as like the play calls and the play selection, that doesn't really change.
That's all we got. Cool. Coach, thank you.
All right, so that was Ryan Walter, defensive coordinator, talking earlier today with sports reporters, getting ready for the LA Bowl. Of course, the Huskies will be taking on Boise State in that game, currently sitting at 8-4 after going 5-4 in the Big Ten this year. Now, he wasn't the only one speaking with the media today. Alex McLaughlin, the safety hard hitter out of Arizona, junior this year. He started all 12 games for the Huskies and is leading them in tackles so far this year. Heading into the bowl game, he had a chance to get up on the mic and chat with sports reporters as well. Let's jump in and listen into that as well.
I would just say, like, not trying to make the big play all the time and just know I'm surrounded by other great athletes and just let the plays come to me and just play within the scheme and just make the plays when they come to me.
Coming from the FCS level, you know, this will be your first bowl game experience. Just what are kind of your feelings about this and what are you looking forward to the most, I guess?
I mean, I feel like I've dreamed of playing a bowl game since I was a kid and just didn't have the opportunity to play in bowl games at the FCS level. So I'm just grateful for this opportunity to go out there one last time with the seniors and set the standard for 2026.
Jed seems to think that everyone's going to play this game. You know, what is it about this group that you think makes it that you guys want to play in games like this?
I would just say the love we have for each other on and off the field, and we know we want to go out there and compete as a team because we felt like we were very close this year, and we want to get to 9 wins and set the standard for the new guys coming in and build something special for 2026.
Where do you feel like this defense has the most room to grow in 2026?
I would just say, like, we were kind of young this year, and those young guys performed really well. And then next year, they're going to have that experience under their belt, and we'll have this is a new scheme for all of us this year, and we'll have a second year in this scheme, and I feel like we'll just play a lot better knowing the ins and outs of it.
Nowadays, anybody who performs well, there always might be some chance that they could get a better deal or more money somewhere else or test the portal, whatever it might be. Are you pretty committed to playing your senior year here?
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere. Coach Fish brought me here. I'm blessed to be here, and I will be here next year.
With that being said, how do you feel that your role can evolve in 2026?
I love the role I was in this year, but I feel like I just got to step into more of a leadership role because I'll be the oldest guy in that safety room with Mikkel leaving. So I think just stepping into a leadership role and knowing I got a bunch of young guys coming in that we can all just set the standard in that room and just take on that role.
Mikkel won the team award, you know, the Guy Flaherty Award. What is it about him that makes him an inspirational player to the other guys in the room?
I mean, just like how long he's been here, the commitment he's had to not just this coaching staff, but to the university and the community, just going through all those coaches changes and just like how he carries himself off the field. Like he just carries himself as a pro, and you could look to him for guidance because he's been around football a lot. He's got a ton.
All right, so that is just a taste of today's press conference. We'll jump back in and check out more of that in a little bit. For now, we're looking ahead to more weather coverage in just a little bit, but we're going to hand you off to the Fox 13 Seattle news feed. First up, a story about new video being released of a recent officer-involved shooting.
(911) What's the location of your emergency?
Hey, you guys better send somebody quick, man. There's a dude walking up the hill. He's walking up Othello, and he got a gun. He got a gun in his hand, and he just pointed at everybody that drive by.
On December 2nd, Seattle police say they received multiple 911 calls like this about a man waving a gun near 42nd Avenue South and Othello Street in the middle of the day. Police now releasing body camera video showing the moments after those 911 calls happened and the moment that led to officers shooting and killing the man they say was armed with a gun. This video shows the man walking toward police, pointing a gun as an officer yells, "Drop it! Drop it! Drop the gun!" He doesn't drop the gun. We're stopping the video here, but it goes on to show police shooting several rounds of bullets at the man. In a matter of seconds, the video shows the man fall to the ground, but not before sitting back up and aiming the gun at police once again. An officer shoots the man, and he falls back to the ground for the last time. He died at the scene.
Drop it! Drop it! Drop it!
A second video shows the body camera footage from another officer approaching the scene as the first officer is yelling for the man to drop his gun. From this vantage point, you can see and hear both officers on scene shooting. Under state law, an independent investigation led by the King County Sheriff's Office is now underway and will determine whether the use of deadly force was used in good faith in this police shooting. Shira Matsuzawa, Fox 13 News.
Back here on Seattle Sports Live, now joined by Fox 13 digital sports lead Curtis Crabtree. The Seahawks scoring 31 points in the second half to run away with that game in Atlanta. So how much do we focus on that dominant second half, and how much do we dwell on that frustrating first half where it was tied at 6 and the offense was stagnant?
Well, the second half was more recent, so I think that's going to probably leave people with a good taste at the end of the day. But
Right.
I think when you look at the offense over the last month, there's been a couple little concerning aspects to look at there. And with the way that they started this game in the first half, you felt it kind of still hanging and looming around there. And then the Shaheed kickoff return to start the second half just kick-started everything for them, and they got rolling at that point and dominated every facet of the game and not just the defensive side after the break.
So what was the difference for the offense in the second half? Because it was the Hawks' 6th half of the season with 30 points or more. Coming into the day, the rest of the league combined only had 4 such halves of 30 points or more.
Well, they all of a sudden got the lead quickly because of the kick return touchdown, put them up top. And then beyond that, they had a couple fewer short fields they were able to work with and kind of get going there. Jackson Smith and Jigba started getting rolling a little bit. He was covered regularly by A.J. Terrell, the Falcons' top cornerback, but was able to make some hay with him and get a couple catches against him moving down the field. And you got some contributions from Rashid Shaheed in the passing game as well.
Yep.
The game plan in the first half was a little bit curious to me, just in general, because the Falcons came into this game tied for the 25th best rushing defense in the league, so you could get to them there, and they had 6 carries combined between Ken Walker and Zach Charbonnet at the half. And it's not like they changed a bunch of that game plan-wise in the second half, but the passing game that they were leaning on and going to did start to open up a little bit more after the break, and the short field certainly helped.
Listen, at the end of the day, not many complaints. This team is now 10-3. The defense is dominant. Let's talk about rookie Nicky Manwari, because you did an article on him this week. Really good timing for that one. What makes this guy so special? Because he did everything under the sun today.
That's the thing. He can do kind of everything. They move him all over the field. They've had him play nickel corner. They've had him play dime linebacker. They've had him play as an outside edge rusher, as a blitzer, and he's even started lining up over the defensive lineman, over the tackles on the defensive line, and rushing from that area now. So he's all over the place. You see him chip in with a field goal block coming off the edge that Atlanta admittedly did not block very well, but he makes a great play to make this diving, reaching block to get to that football and block that. That kind of kick-started things for them a little bit, got some momentum shifted. And, then, he comes on a blitz, gets to Kirk Cousins for a sack, is able to get an interception in his hands this week after missing out on the one with Justin Jefferson last week ago against Minnesota. Just kind of showed up all over the field. We know he can lay a hit as well. So, they can do everything with him. He's got the size, the speed to kind of do all of that, and that's one reason why he might be starting to get into the defensive rookie of the year conversation for sure.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. The defense has now forced 8 turnovers total the last couple of weeks. They've allowed a total of just 9 points in those 2 games. If they are healthy the rest of the way, do you think the Seahawks have the best defense in the league right now?
It's hard to think anybody's better right now with the way that they're playing, because they've got everything going. They've got guys who are playing outstanding football right now who aren't going to technically be in their starting lineup at the moment. The last time we saw Tyrese Knight play, he caused 2 turnovers that led to touchdowns for DeMarcus Lawrence, and he hasn't even been in the starting lineup here recently.
Right.
Ty Okada is getting replaced in the starting lineup by Julian Love getting back healthy, and Okada was one of the guys that Mike McDonald mentioned by name after the game and praising for the way that he's played this season. That's just incredible depth that they've got. They've got it on the defensive line too, with Jaron Reed and Byron Murphy and Leonard Williams. The edge rushing presence from Derek Hall, Leonard Williams occasionally, DeMarcus Lawrence, Uchenna Nwosu. They're a deep unit at all 3 levels, and it's all showing up across the board, so they're really playing terrific football right now.
The transformation over the last couple of years has just been incredible to watch. How much should we now be paying attention to the Colts, who are next week's opponents? Daniel Jones leaving the game earlier today with an Achilles injury. Their head coach said after the game that it did not look good. Now, they only have a 6th-round draft pick rookie, Riley Leonard, out of Notre Dame, who finished the game earlier today at that position. Can we assume he's going to be the one playing next week?
Yeah, I believe so. You just, if you're the Colts, you hope it doesn't go like the Max Brosmer experience a week ago against Minnesota, coming on the road to make your first career start against the Seahawks in that defense that we just talked about. That got very ugly for Max Brosmer, and I could see a path where it gets pretty ugly for Riley Leonard as well. So we'll have to see if that's going to be the way it plays out. But the Colts have been struggling recently anyway, kind of having their season kind of go a little bit like this, even with Daniel Jones still in the lineup. And to have him exit now and give way to a rookie makes it a much tougher ask for them at this point.
Yeah, and then potentially a very good break for the Seahawks going forward, especially since they have to face the Rams just 4 days later. Yeah, the Rams dominating the Cardinals earlier today. So do you think this division is coming down to that Thursday night game in less than 2 weeks? And who has the advantage in this rivalry?
I think it does. With their injury, I just don't trust the 49ers when all things said and done. They're a good team. I just don't think they're quite on the same level of the Seahawks and Rams. And so ultimately, I mean, that game is here in Seattle. The Rams losing a week ago in Carolina really puts this division at play for the Seahawks. And I think with that game being here, I think the Seahawks probably have the edge when all's said and done.
Wow, incredible. And they've matched last year's win total of 10 already, but they still have 4 games left to play. It's pretty exciting if you're a Seahawks fan right now. Curtis Crabtree, be sure to check out all of his great content on our sports page at fox13seattle.com or follow him on social media at Curtis_Crabtree. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you later this week.
Thanks, Aaron.
Hi there, everyone. From the Fox Local Live Desk, I'm meteorologist Ilona McCauley. Hope you're having a great Tuesday so far. We're getting a little bit of a lull in the activity here with that drier sky for the better part of the morning into this early afternoon, but we're already monitoring the next round of rain. We're starting to see some light rainfall around the coastal regions, and it will just be increasing now here for the next couple of hours and well on into your Wednesday. So let's take a live look outside. This is what it looks like currently over the downtown skyline here from our Queen Anne cam. You can see those clouds have been thickening up all day. We did have a period of time where we even had some sun breaks today. Looks are a little bit deceiving outside currently, though. Even though it is not raining at this point in time, we are still actively dealing with flooding along many of our area major river systems, as well as several roadways that remain closed because of high water and flooding. So again, we are urging you to please do not drive around flooded barricades. They are there for a reason, for your safety. Just make sure that you are heeding the warnings and not trying to go through areas where there is high water. There is more rain to come. As I mentioned, we continue to watch the flood warnings. 13 of our area rivers are expected or are already at major flood stage, and you can see them there as indicated in that light green color. Many of them will be very familiar to you, from Snoqualmie River all the way down to South Prairie, the Carbon River, Puyallup. There are several of them, especially after the rounds of heavy rainfall that we saw off to the south just yesterday. I'm going to highlight a few of them for you. So we're still honing in on that forecast and working on some of these graphics so that we can get them ready for you coming up as early as 4 o'clock. We were able to take a look at some of the information for the Snohomish River. This has been one of main concern for us up there. The Snohomish River at Snohomish, you can see it is expected to peak very close, if not slightly above the record. And we are expecting to see that crest happening right around Thursday. So that would be tomorrow, or rather this Thursday. Tomorrow's Wednesday. Thursday at 10 p.m. is when we're going to see that highest level. So even though some of the heaviest rainfall will have eased a bit, it is going to take a little time for all of that high water, that volume of water, to move through the area river systems. Okay, here's a look at the Skagit River. We're also monitoring this one. It will be cresting as we get into Friday, December 12th around 4 a.m. And this one is going to be coming up, you can see, very close to the record. Some of this is going to just sort of be monitored here for the next couple of days, because they could easily bump up over that record level once we just get a better, some of the rain gauges and those flood gauges have an accurate chance to read the level of the high water. Some of the other ones that we're watching, you can see, is the Skykomish River near Gold Bar. That is expected to crest on Thursday over flood stage, well above the flood stage. You can see there at over 21 feet. The Snoqualmie River at Carnation is also expected to reach major flooding. And we mentioned the other two as well, the Skagit River near Mount Vernon, and of course, in the Snohomish River near Snohomish. Now, in addition to those flood warnings, we have active flood watches posted that you can see there, all in that indicated green color. We will continue to monitor that situation as well, with that next round of rain already, as we mentioned, moving onshore. We'll show you that radar in just a minute. Now, the reason for this, we have already seen waves of heavy rainfall moving through just even since midnight. We continue to see over an inch of rainfall in Snoqualmie Pass. So that means a 3-day total is well over 6 inches there. And that doesn't include a little bit of the rainfall that we were already seeing come down over the past weekend, specifically even on Saturday. So we are really just watching for these high values, these high amounts of rainfall, especially in those mountain passes, and then flowing their way downstream into the area rivers and of course through much of our populated low-lying spots here in the Puget Sound Basin. So here's a look at the live Doppler radar. This is pretty much right on schedule. We were expecting to see some of that light rainfall increasing once again from the south, pushing its way northward as a bulk of that atmospheric river has been in Portland for the better part of the day, but we have been forecasting this to move its way northward very close to the commuting hour. So we will watch for the shield of some of that heavier band of rain to arrive likely around 5, 6 o'clock this evening and really ramp up and become heavier at times as we get into late tonight and through much of the day on Wednesday. So here's a look at that future cast. You can continue to see those chances for rain into 5, 6 p.m. And then the intensity of the rain starts to pick up by overnight. Early tomorrow morning, we're going to be dealing with some locally heavy downpours of rain right through the Seattle metro locations. And it will continue to remain very heavy over our Cascade foothills as well as the Olympics, as we mentioned. All of that rainfall will flow down the sides of the mountain and dump into our area waterways, with those river systems continuing already at major flood stage. We're just going to continue to push those levels even higher. The rain will continue heavy at times through much of the day on Wednesday before we finally start to back off the rain ever so slightly. Still looking for that heavy downpour of rain on Thursday. We will lighten up the rain throughout the rest of the day on Thursday, but we're not taking rain chances totally out of the forecast. So here's a look at how much more we're expecting. This is on top of what we have already seen. So another almost 4 inches of rain will be possible in Snoqualmie Pass, another 2+ inches expected here in downtown Seattle, as well as over 2 inches up in Bellingham, Friday Harbor, Port Angeles, and then over toward the peninsula. That would include locations like Shelton and all the way westward to the coast. Your 7-day forecast, we will continue with your Fox 13 weather alert through Thursday. Even though the heaviest rainfall will have subsided later in the day on Thursday, we just still have a high amount of water we are tracking through the area rivers, and then we'll finally allow that weather alert to subside by the time we get into the end of the weekend. But as you can see, it's going to remain fairly unsettled right on into early next week, with some lighter rainfall headed our direction. Temperatures are continue to be still mild, above average for this time of year. Okay, so there is a lot that we're tracking with the weather. We have crews on the ground on some of these locations that are already seeing some heavy flooding. We'll have some live reports from them coming up in just a little bit. For now, we're going to take a short break. Matthew Smith will be back with some more of the day's headlines coming up in just a couple minutes, so stay tuned.
All right, welcome back into the Fox Local Live Desk. Got a live look right now out from our Capitol Hill camera. Now, I know we just heard from meteorologist Alona McCauley, and she kind of walked you through all the concerns that we have looking ahead. But again, things looking pretty calm right now if you're looking at all of this from that mile-high view. But remember, it's on those ground, those individual rivers that are really going to be causing us concern as we look ahead. And things will get worse while some of these rivers are starting to crest or already have crested. They start ramping back up, and we see those levels continue to go up. That's why we have weather alert days now through Thursday. Do want to get you caught up on just a few of the things that I've just seen pop up online that we haven't had a chance to dive into so far. So first up, from Sumner, Washington, they write, this morning the Puyallup and White Rivers flowed together a little sooner than usual. Our flood wall continues to protect our regional wastewater treatment facility. Houston Road, State Street, and the Sumner Link Trail remain closed, but Puyallup River is receding but will be back up tomorrow. Remember, we were actually chatting with the state climatologist, kind of giving you guys some details about how he was looking at this, and one of those things that we noted, wastewater treatment facilities. It is one of the more gross things to be thinking about, but it is reality. We oftentimes see some real rough stuff in terms of flooding when it comes down to wastewater treatment centers. It's one of those things that when you see a lot of water, it can overwhelm the system, and then that can kind of create additional issues with what we see end up in our local rivers. So something that we'll have to pay attention to as we continue to move through the day. Also, City of Puyallup putting out an update saying the Riverwalk Trail remains closed due to the flooding. They write, in addition to the Riverwalk Trail, the following roads are closed due to flooding. North Levy Road under the North Meridian Avenue Bridge, 4th Street Northeast under the North Meridian Avenue Bridge, and 11th Street Northwest north of the river. And they said that all that is based on information they're getting from the National Weather Service, adding, we are anticipating more rainfall this afternoon and evening, which may cause additional flooding in our area. All right, now it's not all just flooding concerns that we're tracking for you today at the live desk. WashDOT out of Tacoma just put out some details about some concerns with the Hood Canal Bridge and State Route 104. They say road is closed so tow trucks can remove a dump truck from an earlier collision on the west side of the bridge at Paradise Bay Road. We're working as fast as possible to reopen the road. So something to be concerned about if you're taking the Hood Canal Bridge. Want to make you guys aware of that as well. Now, continuing in the non-weather related category, do want to get you guys caught up on this. This is coming in from the Kitsap Sheriff. They kind of put out a tweet thread on an arrest that took place. They write, a 62-year-old Bremerton man was arrested on suspicion of arson and burglary following a fire at a Silverdale business. Kitsap County Sheriff's deputies responded to the scene in the 3500 block of Buckland Hill Road just after midnight on the 9th. So really that's last night into this morning that they responded to this one. Details just coming out in the past hour or so here. Reading some extra details that you don't see on your screen here. They say a crew from Central Kitsap Fire and Rescue was at the location and found the man inside of a business after they put out a fire inside of that same building. They took the man to St. Michael's Medical Center where he was evaluated and then later released. We're told that deputies then booked him to the Kitsap County Jail on suspicion of arson and burglary. They are still investigating the incident, so we wait to hear more information potentially on this one. Last but not least, do want to give you guys a note here about a missing person alert. This one coming from Washington State Patrol. This is about James Moore, 89 years old, 6 foot tall, 170 pounds, gray hair, brown eyes, last spotted in a blue-gray jacket and a white or blue polo and tan pants. We always like to get these out to you guys as soon as we can, just because we know that sometimes the public can play a major role in making sure that these individuals get back home to their families. I'm actually going to switch this up and pop up this screen full so you can get a better look at Mr. Moore here. Again, 89 years old, considered a missing at-risk person. They put a picture of a 2021 black Chevy Malibu with a Washington plate A8875649. They know it's not the actual vehicle, but that's what he would have last been seen driving. This is in the area of North Parker Avenue in Portland, but he lives on this side of the border in Vancouver, and they note that he may not be able to return home without assistance. So if you see a black Chevy Malibu, especially if you're near the southern Washington border, it is potential that it's James Moore. They write he has Dick Hanna plate placards, kind of those little rims that you see around the license plate. So keep an eye out for James Moore, 89, 6 foot tall, 170 pounds. Hopefully with that larger missing person poster, you get a good look at his face, because whether he's driving or not, they're saying he may have trouble getting back home, and they want people to be on the lookout for him. All right. In the meantime, do want to just continue to get you guys some updated information and updated views of what's going on outside. We have that drone footage coming in from Snohomish earlier today. I want to get that video back up on your screen here because this really gives you a good idea of what folks are going to be dealing with as we move throughout the day. I know we just checked in with meteorologist Alona McCauley, but I do want to give you guys kind of a rundown of what we're going to be tracking as a newsroom, not only today, but looking ahead as well. So round 2 of heavy rain will hit later on tonight into tomorrow. And as that rain starts to come in, we could see more concerns tomorrow as well. 10 western Washington rivers are expected to hit major flood stage at one point or another this week. We are monitoring a number of places. That includes Skagit, Snohomish, Skycomber, Snoqualmie, Tolt, White, Puyallup, Nisqually, Cowlitz, and Carbon. So what you're looking at on your screen here is actually the Snohomish River as it looked earlier today. And what I'm going to do while you guys are looking at this, I'm actually going to pull up another page here to give you guys an idea of some of the details of how we track this stuff. You oftentimes hear the meteorologists breaking down what we're watching. All of these purple boxes on your screen, these are the areas that we're concerned about that can hit major flood stage in the coming days. So you see here on my screen where I'm looking at these 2 different spots, this is both the Snohomish River, so this area that we're talking about right here. And I'm going to pull up the Snohomish River in Snohomish as we continue to look at this video from downtown Snohomish that was recorded just a while ago. Now, the record that we've seen in this location is 33.5 foot tall. New data coming out has given us an opportunity to kind of see where the prediction is. And this has changed in just the past couple of hours. So I'm going to pop back over to that NOAA forecast. Everything left of this dotted line on your screen, see all this? This is what we already know. This is real data. This isn't a prediction. This is what we've seen so far. And it gives you a good idea. Now, right here where I've got my mouse, you see major flood stage is considered at 29. That's when we really start being concerned. Look where we're at right now. We've just dropped back down below major, but look where we're forecast. Everything to the right of that dotted line is all in the forecast right now, taking you all the way through to Thursday around 8, 9 o'clock. They're predicting around 33.3 feet. Again, that would be just a hair under the all-time record that we've seen, which is 33.5 feet. That gives you a good idea as to why we're concerned, because remember, we just showed you where the forecast is. That was far above what we've actually seen on the ground, but now look what we actually are seeing on the ground. You are looking at huge areas flooded. This is into land and property, and this is not just the Snohomish as we look at the Snohomish, but we've seen this again. At some point this week, we're expecting 10 different rivers to crest into major flood stage. So this is kind of being repeated throughout our viewing area, and it's going to continue to be a concern as we look ahead. All right, so let's continue to look at this. I'm going to pull up some sound. Earlier today, we did hear from the opposite side of our viewing area, talking about Pierce County. Carly Capetto, the public information officer for the sheriff's office down there, had a chance to talk with our morning show team about concerns because they got called in pretty early today and started to work on getting some people that had got stuck in roadways. This is a good time to remind you all, this is the time of year where you do want to turn around if you see water on a roadway, because you just don't know how deep it could truly be. So let's jump into part of a conversation with Carly Capetto, talking about the concerns they had out near the Carbon River early this morning.
Yeah, about 3:30 a.m. this morning, we have been fully activated. We have road closures here in the South Prairie area, specifically with the Carbon River. We've already had several vehicles we've rescued While those vehicles were attempting to cross over large bodies of water, there's about 1.5 feet of water over the South Prairie Carbon River Road and over here Pioneer Way Coast. And we are encouraging people not to bypass our road closure signs and attempt to cross over these bodies of water. You will float off and we will have to rescue you. So I think the biggest thing we want to push is people not to cross these roads.
All right, so that is the concern right now, but we also had a chance to ask her just a little bit about what today looks like for their department, as they have a lot of people responding to a lot of calls in the overnight hours. And of course, while some of these waters are receding, you still have people that aren't necessarily heeding the warning signs with those roads that are up telling people to turn around.
It increases our 911 calls for sure, and we are fully activated. As I had said prior to that, we have all of our search and rescue, rope teams, swift water, dive teams. We're all ready to go. We're collaborating with all of the fire departments, districts, and our Department of Emergency Management right now. So we're well coordinated with all of our teams, and we are expecting things to get much busier this afternoon. Our regular patrol are out handling 911 calls and crime calls such as that, but we have special groups specifically for evacuations and all of this emergency management stuff.
So this is a good time to remind you guys that those road closed signs are up for a reason. We're looking at some of the video that was shot out in Sumner earlier this morning. See there, you have a car driving right around that road closed signs, clearly marked, but there's obviously concerns in there. This person living right nearby, but apparently not the only ones, as they actually had to go in and rescue people that went around there, not to pull in just around the corner, but to actually attempt to drive through some of these flooded areas. We, of course, will continue to talk about what the concerns are out there, including live reports from our crews in the field coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. That is now just roughly 20 minutes away. That'll be on Seattle News tonight, and we'll bring you right up until that 4 o'clock hour with all the news as it comes into the newsroom. So stay tuned. More news still to come here on the Fox Local Live Desk. In the meantime, we are going to take a short commercial break. All right, welcome back into the Fox Local Live Desk. Continue to bring you guys updates on the conditions that we're seeing out there. A reminder of what we're kind of dealing with in graphic form here. Chief Meteorologist Brian McMillan dropped this off for us earlier today. This is now through Friday afternoon. All the flood alerts that we're going to be watching for here, there's 10 of them. Skagit, Snohomish, Skykomish, Snoqualmie, Tolt, White, Puyallup, Nisqually, Cowlitz, and Carbon. These are the places that either have or will hit those major flood levels. Now, we just got some new video coming in from the Green River, and this is just a great idea to remind you of what not to do when you see a ton of water on the road just plowing through and trying to, I guess, turn their pickup truck into a boat. This, of course, can be very dangerous. You just don't know how deep that water is when you start driving into it. A few more inches could strand you, and also if the current's strong enough, as we see these rivers will continue to rise, it could get worse out there as well, because we've not yet seen the worst of all of this with this atmospheric river, because we are going to be moving forward and talking about more water continue to move its way up in the coming days. We showed that graphic with you before the break, the idea of how this will look in the next couple days. So we will be monitoring this for the foreseeable future. Again, this is Green River, one of the areas that we have heard some concerns of earlier today, 8 a.m. They had announced that this particular spot had risen to the phase 3 for flooding. Remember, there is an emergency declaration in King County because this and other rivers have been seeing moderate flooding already, and we will see more water work its way through this system. The conversation or the quote that we got from King County at the time was, urban areas of the Green River Valley are generally protected by the levee system, but be aware that flood conditions can change rapidly. So when you hear comments like that, you start to get concerned, of course. All right, meanwhile, live video coming in to our newsroom right now. This is the Cowlitz River, again, one of the 10 rivers that we will be watching for in the next couple of days here, where we see those floodwaters continue to rise. You can see just how strong that current is. And again, just we're seeing this in so many parts of our viewing area. It's hard to really even put it into words how many different people and areas are concerned, whether it's homes, whether it's the roads and their route, whether it's loved ones, but also we mentioned earlier the concerns with a lot of farmlands in our area as well. We told you about how Evergreen State Fairgrounds, they've already opened up a number of their areas on their property, and they've been allowing people to bring in horse, cattle, goats, chickens. You think of it on a farm, they've probably got it there at this point, kind of Noah's Ark 2.0, as they can grow concerned with a number of these properties that are right up on the river. And we are expecting both the Skykomish and the Snohomish to get worse later on this week, but they've already started to see people take them up on their offer. They do have to sign waivers. They don't have veterinary care on staff, but it is a dry place for people to get their livestock if they're concerned that flooding could affect them. So let's check in now with some of the folks with Evergreen State Fair as they kind of explain how they're helping out.
Stabling of large animals here at the fair park due to the flooding that is happening. So we're prepping all of our barns and stalls to get ready to accept animals that may need to be emergency stabled.
How many animals do you have so far?
Currently we have about 40 horses and we have about 40 cattle that are coming in. We are expecting some chickens and also some possible goats that may be coming in too.
How many animals can this place hold?
That is a great question. So we have about 430 stalls here in the equestrian side of the fair park, but we also have other animal barns on the other side that can house like cattle, goats, sheep. We can also set up emergency like temporary penning, so that's where some of the cattle are now.
What have things been like for you today?
They've been a little, hit the ground running. We just finished up an event this last weekend here at the fair park, so came in today and it's been kind of all hands on deck. We work really hard to put these procedures in place, though, so that when the time comes, we can get it going really, really fast so everyone kind of knows their job. And we partner with Department of Emergency Management as well, just to make sure everything is smooth and can get the animals settled as fast as we can.
And Amy, you were saying some people actually live out here, right? So, or live here on site. It's kind of very stressful. Maybe talk about that.
Yeah, so most of our staff lives in the Monroe or the Sky Valley here. A lot of us are impacted also by the rivers. So some of our workmates could not get into work today. So that does impact our staffing. And so it really is kind of everybody jumps in and helps where they can. We do have an on-site caretaker, which is great. He is here and he's the one that people reach out to let them know that they're coming with their animals.
Walk us through the process. So if somebody has animals they need to evacuate, what do they need to do? And then when they get here, what happens? What does this all look like?
Yeah. So if you have the opportunity to give either our caretaker or our office a call prior to coming and let us know you're coming and what type of animals, that's great. But if you don't, you can come here with your animals. You leave them on the trailer. You notify our caretaker that is here, and the phone numbers are listed before you get into the building. He has you sign a waiver, and then he'll go ahead and get you the animals stalled. We provide shavings for the stalls, but we don't provide any care, feed, equipment, things like that. That is all on the owner. We do, however, have community partners that work with us that if you had to leave and couldn't bring that stuff, we can put you in contact with someone that gets that equipment and stuff here. We also do not provide veterinary services.
I imagine you've talked with a lot of owners of these animals today. How are they holding up? How are they doing?
They're doing okay. You know, we're glad that we're here as a service, but at the same time, we know this is a very stressful time for them. We're glad that we can offer it, but we want to just make sure that we take care of the animals and give them a place that they know their animals are safe. The community is amazing about reaching out and asking if they can help and support the Fair Park in doing this, and we're really glad that it's a resource here. We do want to just make sure that, you know, the animals are safe, that people are safe, and they can get them all back home once the floodwaters recede.
How long do you expect that they'll be here, given like the forecast and kind of what things look like?
That I don't know. We always, but when we do emergency stabling, we always do it 5 to 7 days, and then we reassess. So we're always in contact with our partners and saying, okay, what's the forecast look like? How long do they need to stay? So we really rely on that. So right now, we're kind of just the next couple days looking and seeing what's going to happen. And then we'll reassess and go from there.
But it sounds like it's minimum 5 to 7 usually, typically.
Depending, but if they're able to go home sooner, obviously, you know, they can go ahead and do that. Also, we look at, you know, what is the cleanup and things like that. So we want to make sure it's safe for the animals to return back home.
And where are people typically coming from?
Right now, I know we have a lot of people kind of along the river, the Skycomish River. Also in the Gold Bar area. It just really depends, and I, again, coming in quickly this morning, am not exactly sure where they're all coming from, just because it's kind of been fast that they're coming in, but mainly along the rivers, and I know that Gold Bar and kind of the Sky Valley has kind of been one that's been hit. So.
And you said that some of your colleagues couldn't make it in today. It was like the road, there's water on the road and stuff like that?
Yeah, so there is a lot of water on the roads, and some of them live and also farm in the area, and so it was a little hard getting in today and, you know, working from home. So yeah.
And then what was the event you had last weekend?
So last weekend we did our annual holiday event. It was Holiday Spark at the Evergreen Fair Park, just a real local kind of holiday event. So we just finished up with that on Sunday, and we're coming in to clean up today, and we're always on our toes, you know. We could switch modes and pitch in and do what we need to for the community.
Thank you.
All right, so obviously some busy times for those folks over at Evergreen State Fair. Glad to see that they're in the community, able to help out all these people that are still dealing with this atmospheric river fallout. It is going to be a very, very long road for plenty of these people, because as we've been bringing you live coverage throughout the day, earlier in the day, I think back to what Washington State climatologist Guillaume Mauger was explaining, where he said, oftentimes you see all of this coverage and you think about the concerns that everybody has with flooding, and he says we oftentimes just talk about the immediate and the concerns that we have, and he said oftentimes it's the aftermath that lingers for weeks and months for the folks that are hit the hardest by this. And certainly it sounds like that's going to be true for many of those people on farmlands where they've had to evacuate livestock. So we will keep track of this story. In fact, we're going to take a short commercial break here, but on the other side, we're going to hear from somebody who actually already brought a horse to the barn there, but we're actually going to have about another half dozen showing up because the property that they're at has not yet flooded. But based on that forecast that we were talking about with the rivers that are in that area right now, their farm or their barn would be underwater in the coming days. So one more reason for folks out there to be a little nicer to their neighbors who may be dealing with this. We'll jump into that story, or that part of the story, after this commercial break. All right, welcome back into the Fox Local Live Desk. Got a live look for you out at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport. The sky starting to calm down, but it is what is coming next that we are starting to get a little bit more concerned about. Do want to show you guys some video that came in just a short while ago. For those who haven't been had a chance to watch with us, want to get you a look at Snohomish River. We were talking just a little bit ago about how this is going to potentially get close to that record-setting level that we've seen. The latest forecast had it just a hair under the highest area that's ever crested. And those things fluctuate, they change over time, but we will be laser focused on that. Our meteorologist will kind of walk you through that later today. In fact, behind the scenes here, I've got a number of monitors, and I can see they're working on updating the flooding outlook for a number of the rivers with the latest details that just came out from NOAA. So look for that coming up in Seattle News tonight. Before the break, talked a little bit about equestrian farms starting to bring not only cattle like you saw before the break, but also horses over to Evergreen State Fairgrounds. That includes AK Equestrian Barns. Going to jump in with Kesha Lee here, explaining why she brought her horse and the concern that the owner of that barn has as the floodwaters are predicted to get to a point where it'll be hard for them to avoid flooding.
Just a lot of scrambling, trying to figure out the plans, what's up, who's doing what. The whole barn, what do we want to do? Are we doing things as a barn? Who's got plans for their horses? All that kind of fun stuff, trying to figure out where everybody's going. Are we going as one barn? Where does every individual horse want to go? We chose to go as a barn, so makes it easier for our horses, because as you can see, one of them doesn't really like to be separated from her herd. So, yeah. So it's just been a lot of like trying to figure out logistics and worry and what needs to be picked up and what can we get out of the way and how do we move everything, and yeah.
When did you make the call that you needed to get the horses out?
That was this morning, yeah. And I think the conversations with the whole barn were happening this morning. Some of the logistical stuff, like the deciding factors, were happening last night before we all went to bed. And then this morning, we're like, okay, we're moving. Let's see if we can get our spaces. Let's see if we can get all this organized and all hands on deck and everybody move.
Is it flooded then? Where you guys?
No, not yet. No, but we're at about 31 feet. Our barn is. So if the river crests, then yeah, we will be underwater.
And we are expecting that to happen later on this week. A reminder, heavy rain Tuesday night into Wednesday. That'll be round 2 of that heavy rain, possibly 2 to 3 inches in the Puget Sound lowlands. That's the latest from our weather blog over on fox13seattle.com. A good reminder for you guys. You can pay attention to that. Our team has been updating that throughout the day. And in the meantime, if you're looking for more video, if you're watching us right now on Fox 13 Plus, and now is the time I remind you, switch over to Fox 13 anywhere else. You stay right here and we'll hand you off after a short commercial break.